Well, Rube, I'm sweating a lot, but it's not because this game ended up being close. It's just because it's really hot down here.
Really hot. Saw some storms swinging through Raymond James Stadium. It's funny. You go down to Tampa thinking you're going to get all this great weather, and it's rainy and 100 degrees.
Well, I got nice weather yesterday. It's just today it was a little humid. I had to take my suit jacket off because I didn't want to sweat through it all the way. The Eagles get a win. They're 3-0. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 25-11 at Raymond James Stadium. This is the Eagle Eye podcast presented by Nissan. He's Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. Give me a big thought from this game.
Well, I just think that this team's improved on both sides of the ball each week, and that's really encouraging. They still haven't played a clean game. They still haven't played like that perfect game, and there's still a lot of things to fix. But there was a lot to like about this game. I guess the number one thing that sticks out to me is, you look at the offense, and they're still kind of not flowing on all cylinders. They had some red zone issues. They had a couple turnovers, and still you look at the final stats, and they've got 472 yards, 25 points. It could have been easily 40 points if they just converted a couple goal line or inside the 20 opportunities. So, there's a lot to not criticize, but a lot of things that can get better, a lot of things that can improve. But sitting here 3-0, coming off a Super Bowl loss, which is hard to do. It's hard to kind of crank it back up and be competitive, and they've done that. One of only 3 teams that's undefeated after 3 weeks. This is a really impressive win. Look, that's a great defense. Like you said, it's really hot down there. They kept the ball for almost 40 minutes, which was huge on a day like this. I think it was pretty clear that Tampa defense wore down at the end of the game, and it was just an impressive win in a lot of ways.
Yeah, the first 2 wins, I think most fans probably came out of it like, yeah, they won, but there's a lot to fix. Not saying there aren't things to fix from this game, but I think most people are feeling a little better about it. And really one of the big reasons is they had pretty big leads in those first 2 games, and then it got way too close toward the end. This one, the Eagles were able to just take care of business and win it comfortably, which is always nice. You don't want to be in those tight games, especially I know you don't want them to be in those tight games when you're working on 10 observations at the end of a game. So this one, they gave you a little breathing room tonight. Yeah,
I think Brooke Destra was happy with me. I got the obs in a little earlier than the last couple of weeks, but and look, I think it was really encouraging. I said before the game, I thought we'd learn a lot about this team. Tampa's got it's down there. The humidity, we knew the heat index or whatever is over 100. It was a big challenge. They don't give up a lot of yards on the ground, or at least they didn't until today. So it was, and look, we've seen Todd Bowles make things really rough for Jalen Hurts in the past. So I thought they were going to be tested in a lot of ways, and I think they were. And they came out with a commanding win that third quarter. Like you said, you're up 10. You're feeling pretty good at halftime, but to come out and outscore them 9-0 in the third quarter was really big. It was over after that.
Yeah, it was definitely over. And one more big takeaway from me, the design of this team is working. I mean, the lines are what makes this whole thing kind of churn. Like, they have great players at skill positions, but it all starts up front on both sides of the line. And I thought really both sides were great tonight.
Yeah, I thought so too. We'll talk about the 2 young interior linemen from Georgia later, but yeah, I thought the defense was really, really impressive. Tackled really well, covered well. What did Mike Evans finish with? 50, 60? I don't even know what he had.
And the best catch I've ever seen.
Yeah, best catch I've ever seen. 5 for 60, though. You can keep him to 60 yards. You'll take that. And they're so good against the run. The very disciplined, physical, aggressive defense. I thought some of the guys that played really bad against the Patriots have played really well the last couple of weeks.
I agree. We'll get to those guys in a little bit, but let's start with the offense.
Yeah.
I think the story again is just even though A.J. Brown goes off and has a big game, to me it was the offensive line, and it wasn't just in one phase, it was both. I mean, they protected well for Hurts, and I mean, some of the DeAndre Swift, you give him credit because he burst through the hole, but man, some of those holes were big tonight.
Yeah, I was thinking about like in 2021, they started running for 200 yards every game. That was a different running back, but it was the same O-line essentially.
Mm-hmm.
That's the constant here is the O-line, and nothing, not taking anything away from Miles Sanders a couple of years ago or DeAndre Swift, who's a really impressive back, but that O-line, and I thought tonight was the first time they've really clicked. The interior guys were so good. I thought it's the best game Juergens has played. Dickerson's incredible. And the running game, back-to-back games with over 200 yards. And this is against the number 4 run defense in the league. Look, it's only 2 games. But, I mean, Vita in the middle. Go ahead.
But even not before this season, Todd Bowles had the number 1. Since he got there in 2019, they were the number 1 run defense in the league.
Yeah, and that's what the Eagles did the last couple of years. Was it didn't matter who they were playing; they could run the ball, and I think we're starting to see that now. I mean, I don't know the last time the Bucs gave up 200 rushing yards, but it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. My favorite moment from this game was when the Bucs stopped the tush push on 3rd and 1, and the Eagles just ran it on 4th. They got it.
I'm not so sure he didn't get in on 3rd down.
Yeah. It doesn't even matter. You give them 2 shots, they're going to get in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unstoppable. And
for the Eagles, not for everyone else. We've seen it not work around the league.
Yeah, and if you're a running back, you better score from the 10 and out because Jalen's going to do the rest. But, there were some holes there. I mean, again, I'm not taking anything away from DeAndre Swift, who had a great game. But, I mean, there were holes that, Michael Haddix could have run through.
I was wondering where you're going to go with that.
I was wondering too. Michael Haddix was a first-round pick of the Eagles in the early 80s, has the lowest rushing average in NFL history by a running back. So I went there.
Okay, that's good. I thought you were going to say one of us.
Basketball player for St. Augustine down in Atlantic County. Yeah.
Let's start with Jalen, and we'll kind of work our way through. We talked about the line. I thought Jalen wasn't perfect, but at least from my vantage point, you come out of this game feeling way better about him. Sure, he had the 2 picks. The first one was kind of a miscommunication with DeAndre Swift. The second one, I didn't like that pass. I joked that he set them up for the safety, which he did, but he threw it up to Devontae Smith and into double coverage. But aside from that, it was
a great play by the corner. I wasn't sure it was good, but it was good. But I was encouraged too. Despite, his numbers, his passer rating was probably really low. I liked what I saw from Jalen. I thought he made some big throws. He made a couple throws on that last drive when they were running out the clock that were to AJ that were really, really nice. I saw more encouraging things than discouraging things. I think I agree. Yeah, go ahead.
I thought his pocket awareness was much better in this game. I was getting a little not worried, but it was concerning a tad to see him struggle with the pocket awareness in the first 2 games.
Only the second time the Bucs have allowed 200 rushing yards at home since Bowles was their head coach. Mm-hmm. The first time was the Niners last year. And Christian McCaffrey had a huge game, but I agree with that. He's still not running the ball the way we're used to seeing. And you throw out the final numbers because he had 4 kneel downs and tush pushes that aren't going to look good on your stats. But he converted a couple third downs. I think he'll be fine. I like the way he threw the ball. Other than the 1 pick, the second interception. I thought there was a lot to like, and he spread the ball around a little more. Still like to see more Goddard, but at least Dallas caught a couple double-digit passes, which he hasn't done. Zacchaeus got involved. On the 1 drive, he had 2 big-time catches. This offense just works so much better if it's not just AJ and Devontae.
That touchdown throw from Hurts to Olamide was his best throw of the night. That was impressive. Great pocket awareness, steps up, knows he's going to get hit, kind of throws it with his body on a side angle and throws a dime. Right to Zacchaeus. That was like vintage Jalen. That was the guy we saw last year. I haven't seen a ton of those plays. We've seen little glimpses here and there. That was his best play so far of the year. Yeah, I agree. And I really thought that the passing game was there. It's still not a finished product. It's still not
where you want it to be, but I just felt like the first 2 weeks when he dropped back, I was like, what's going to happen here? You know, he just didn't have a lot of faith in the passing game. And they obviously didn't either because they ran the ball 40 times in the second half Thursday night. But tonight I felt like he was more locked in. He was more comfortable. He never really got into a big time rhythm. But there were points where he looked pretty good. I thought it was a good step.
Even late in the game, you mentioned it earlier, but when, you know, they're trying to run the clock out and they get stuffed on first and second down, it's third down. They have to pass at this point to keep the sticks moving. He got those done. I mean, those were big plays.
Well, the 3rd and 13, that was a huge play. I mean, 25 yards to AJ. I mean, they were inside the 50. So, you know, look, Tampa's not going to come back and win the game, but you just don't want to give them the ball back. They just scored, so it had a little momentum. And then the one at the end of the game to run out the clock was a really nice throw too. So yeah,
I'll be honest, I didn't see the last couple minutes because there's one little elevator in Raymond James Stadium to get down. So once I felt secure that they had this game won, I got on that elevator and got down there.
One thing I don't miss about being at the games is press box elevators.
This is like the tiniest little elevator, and you cram in there and you just hold your breath that it makes it.
Yeah, I'm going to have nightmares just listening to you because like Texas Stadium had that. They had one little elevator. It was like the size of a phone booth. Probably half our watchers don't even know what a phone booth is. But I mean, I was terrified. There were times I would just run down the ramps, you know. And,
well, I always get scared to do that because sometimes you can't get back into the inner part of the stadium. Yeah. Then you're like in the parking lot.
If I saw a local scribe doing it, like a guy from
you got to follow them.
I would follow him and just sprint down. We did that in a few stadiums, but like the old Cleveland Stadium, the old Municipal Stadium, the press box elevator, it was like, you ever go up in the arch in St. Louis?
I never have.
Like it was like that. It was like, I mean, it's like you're in this little box. I got stuck in an elevator in Anaheim at the old Rams Stadium, and I was like, I never want to. I was the only person in it. It was pregame, and it was a big elevator. I was okay, but you know, I don't know if you ever heard about when before the Ravens preseason game, the one that got canceled because the vet turf was so bad. There's about 15 reporters who got stuck in that elevator at the vet, and it was like a preseason game in August. It was like 100 degrees, and they were in there like 50 minutes. And
they were in there until they had tore it down.
At that point, I was taking the ramps at the vet because I would not get in that elevator. I'm glad I didn't, but I have nightmares about I don't mind flying. I don't mind anything, but elevators. I just give me the, you know, my parents' building in Chestnut Hill. I walk up. I will not get in their elevator. It terrifies me. And
someone's going to ask, like, what's that Eagle podcast? Is that any good? It has its ups and downs.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get back to this offense.
Yeah.
A little bit. Good stuff from AJ. There's always going to be like one guy kind of left out. And it was Devontae in this game, 4 catches, not a ton of yards, but final product's the final product. You feel good about it.
Yeah, that's going to happen. And, you know, at least he didn't like cause a stir on the sideline. But I was just happy to see Zacchaeus involved because I don't think he had been targeted the first 2 games.
Yeah.
And, you know, Quez, I don't know how long Quez will be out. Quez hasn't had a 58-yard game in a long time. I think since
it's curious now. I wonder what will happen because they were so steadfast that Quez was ahead of them. But they're really 2 different players. Like, I think there can be roles for both of them. Now, I don't think they'll both be on the field very often together, but they bring different elements, I think. They
do, but I think Zacchaeus right now is a safer bet. I really do. To me, it's
hard to argue. I mean, he had a nice game.
Yeah, he did. He's pretty solid. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But it's been a long time since Quez made an impact. We all know what happened last year, but I like the way Zacchaeus contributed, and I like that Jalen targeted him in some big moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they looked good, and the touchdown was kind of like almost a scramble drill, a little bit because it was so long. To see them have that kind of rapport on their second target together, That's pretty encouraging.
How many total yards for St. Joe's Prep?
58 plus 130.
188.
Oh, we had Swift
196.
had 8 receiving too.
Yeah, 196. So
yeah,
it's a good day for the Prep.
Almost 200.
Jack Stoll go to the Prep? No,
I don't believe so.
I don't think he did.
Jack Stoll got a catch.
He did.
They were in 12 personnel a little bit.
Yeah, a little 12.
They came out in 12.
Yeah, they did. I liked the offense. I liked the concept of it. It was just more varied. It was less predictable. A lot of work to do, but you get 500 yards against one of the top defenses in the league in their own gym, as AI used to say. The Sixers would play like, a game at like Boston Garden. He'd be like, I love coming to this gym. We handed it to them in their own gym. Speaking
of this gym, one of my favorite features of any stadium is the pirate ship here.
Love the pirate ship.
It's pretty cool.
Behind the end zone there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, love the pirate ship. I miss the pirate ship. I don't miss the elevator.
All right. You want to take a break and then talk about defense on the other side?
Let's do that.
All right.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today.
Catch all the sports action and more at Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Whether it's the money line or the pass line, there's something for everyone in a great sports book. Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Philly loves a winner. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, I guess if we're talking about the defense, we have to start with the line. And you look at the stat sheet and you think, they only had 2 sacks. Like they weren't that good, right? No, they were great. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, we're going to do this every week, I think, but these guys are going to be so much fun to watch for the next however many years they're here.
Yeah, and we were talking on the post-game show. Like I knew Jalen Carter was going to be good. I knew he was going to make an impact as a rookie. I never dreamed he'd be this good, this fast.
You'd be nuts if you predicted him being this good. Like no one's this good to start at that position.
You're right. He makes it look so effortless. I love the consistency in his game. His fitness is really where you want it to be. He came in and they taught him how to be a pro, and he's living it. He's playing like it. He's so much fun to watch. They both are. I mean, they're both playing lights out. But Carter, he's already one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Period. Yeah. Not rookies, not young guys.
Yeah, you don't have to qualify it.
He's just one of the best interior linemen in the league, and he's made an impact in every game. And if it's not with hits on the quarterback and pressure, you can't run on this guy. You can't run on this team, and he's a huge. The two of them are the big reason why. And Fletch played well too, but those two guys and Jalen. I'm just blown away at the level of consistency that we've seen from him play in and play out. He does have bad snaps. No. I'm not sitting there in the film room with these guys, and I'm sure there's been an assignment here or there that he didn't carry out perfectly, but my goodness, he's a beast.
The violence on that ball that he punched out, that was incredible. Like just to watch that play, it was a perfect play. And it was kind of cool. He said right before that, like not long before that play, Jordan Davis saw Jalen's family and pointed them out to him. So he saw that his 40 of his family and friends in the section all wearing his jersey, and then he goes out and makes play of the game.
Up there,
certainly up there. The Bucs are about to drive down the field. They get a field goal out of it, and then they come back after half and get the ball and score, and it's over.
Yeah. If you made a list of the greatest interior linemen in Eagles history, top 10, he'd be on there. I'm telling you, he'd be on there. They haven't had a lot of them. They've certainly never had, I know it's 3 games, but I'm telling you,
From a talent perspective, yes.
Yeah, from a pure ability standpoint.
You can't put his career against.
No. I mean, he's played 3 games in his life. But
from a talent perspective, I mean, he's
yeah. Mm-hmm. Might be second to Fletch and put Jerome in there, but yeah, he's playing at a level that we just don't see. And I mean, what they're able to do in run defense, and the Bucs had 41 rushing yards on 17 carries. They wanted to run the ball. They tried.
It was really strange that they kept trying.
It was strange, even when it was 25 to 3 or whatever, 25 to 3. They averaged 2.4 yards a carry. Eagles have not allowed a run longer than 12 yards this year, which is, they played 3 games. It's not a ton of games, but I don't know how you run on this team. And once you can put a quarterback like Baker Mayfield, and he'd played well the first 2 games, you put him in known pass when you can't run, and they're going to do that to a lot of quarterbacks. Now, there's some really, really good quarterbacks out there who can be productive when they have to throw. But Baker Mayfield's not one of them. And it's going to be really, really tough for opposing offenses, because if you can't run and teams know you're going to throw, it's going to play right into the Eagles' hands. Their pass rushers, their secondary, their playmakers. Run defense is as good a run defense. And again, I don't want to get too carried away. It's 3 games, but I don't know how you run on this team.
Yeah, and we should point out that the Bucs aren't really known for their rushing attack. Vikings certainly haven't been known for their rushing attack. New England, Stevenson's okay, but it's not like they have a juggernaut. So they haven't faced a top tier rushing attack. But you're right, like the numbers have been great, even when you take in all those factors.
Yeah, and they'll face some really, really good backs down the line, and it'll be fun to see. But it'll be fun to see how they measure up. But I'm pretty confident in this group. And the linebackers are playing. I don't know if they're playing over their heads, but they're playing. They're getting some good linebacker play, which, look, I guess it's a lot easier to play linebacker when you're playing behind this front. But we're seeing some plays from these guys.
Yeah, I was really impressed with them. This is their second game without Nakobe Dean, and Nicholas Morrow flying around has 2 tackles for loss. He's the one who gets in the backfield on the safety. Now, obviously, the front helped a little bit there, but Morrow still shoots it, and he gets the TFL. I thought Cunningham looked okay. Even Christian Ellis got in there and got some snaps. They were fine, more than fine. I thought they were serviceable. Yeah,
I agree. Morrow's been he had two tackles for loss, I think. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
And a safety, or I don't know who officially got the credit for the safety, but
that was his tackle for loss.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that they cut, and he was on the practice squad for the opener. I had a chance to talk to him at some point last week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I really don't know when it was. And he's a guy that never got cut before. And he talked about what that was like for him. And, we kind of think of roster moves as, all right, whose turn is it to write this story up that this guy got cut? But he gave a really interesting perspective on life as a football player. When you're 28, you don't know if you're going to get that call again. And so if you're, and he's playing so well, so you can find that story on our site. But I think Cunningham, after that first game, I think we said this last week, I thought he was going to get cut.
It was bad.
He was so bad against New England. And then, look, he was only in training camp a couple weeks, so you kind of understand it. But he's been pretty good the last couple weeks. And, while we're on the topic of the defense, you got to mention Reed Blankenship. He's a really, really good player. And he had a second pick in, 6 career starts. He's only started 6 games. It seems like he's been around so long. But every game, I mean, he just shows up. And the interception was really, really good anticipation, sees things really well. He's got really smart, that great combination of intelligence and physicality. And I started thinking, who's the last really good young safety this team had? I mean, their safeties have been Malcolm and Rodney, the older guys, veterans who've been around. I came up with Michael Lewis. I mean, you could go Kurt Coleman, but no. And Kurt had he had like 20 interceptions. He had a lot of interceptions, but Reed Blankenship's probably their best young safety since Michael Lewis. And that was 20 years ago. Again, I'm probably getting carried away because we're 3 weeks in, but the level of consistency he's playing with, they missed him last week. He was certainly notable in his absence and came back, and I thought played really well tonight.
Yeah, he had a big tackle.
He's a good tackler. Sorry. Got carried away there.
He is a good tackler. He had that big one early. He did miss one, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Here and there. I thought he played well.
Oh, on the sideline there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I ended up going for a first down. So, but hey, everyone's going to miss a tackle here and there. Overall, the secondary, so they come into this game, obviously no Avonte Maddox. He's on IR. He had pec surgery, probably done for the season. And then inactives come out. Mario Goodrich, inactive. So their backup nickel, who they have on the roster for some reason, is inactive, and they go with James Bradbury to start the game. He started outside, and then he slid in for nickel. But then they also rotated. They had Sidney Brown play quite a bit of snaps in the slot before he got hurt.
Yeah, and he had that nice play in the end zone. I don't know if it would have been a touchdown if he didn't get his hand in there. A little bobble there, but he was there.
I think he just showed recovery speed. He got his hand. That was a great play.
It was a great
against
play.
Mike Evans. Like that was the matchup the Bucs wanted, and there was a period where the Bucs really were getting the matchups they wanted. They were getting, Mike Evans on Josh Joe, where they got him on Sidney Brown there. They were doing what they wanted, and it was just a big play by Sidney at that moment. And that's why I've been kind of saying to play this kid, because even if he has some rough moments, I think he can make up for them.
Yeah, and I thought Job did a decent job. Gave up some catches, but nothing deep. I think a couple penalties. He might have had 2 penalties.
He had a DPI, and it was funny. I didn't really see it live, but even if it wasn't DPI, it was defensive holding.
Yeah, I never got a good look at it, so I just decided it was a bad call. But
no, I saw the replay. It was definitely
too many penalties in football. That was my big takeaway of watching football all day Sunday. Like every play's got a flag. But anyway. He didn't have a great game, but I love his physicality. I really do. Yeah. He's a fun player to watch. Yeah.
And you can see why sometimes he's going to get penalties called on him because he is so physical.
Yeah. And again, he's a guy that still hasn't played much football. He started 2 games in the NFL, so he'll get better. And they didn't give up anything over the top. The Bucs' longest play was 24 yards to Evans, 22 to Evans. Oh, he's going to do that. If you can keep Mike Evans to 60 yards, it's going to be hard to lose this game.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't stop watching that catch.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was unreal.
Yeah.
That's one of those where they're going to be in the defensive film room and go, well, sometimes, guys, what are you going to do?
Yeah. You see why he's so good. But I thought they did a nice job for the most part on him. And if look, they didn't give up any big plays against a team that tried to make. I mean, they threw deep a bunch early. I thought early on they had some opportunities to hit a couple that there was a drop, and there was one that Mayfield just missed on. But eventually it was just a good combination of pressure and coverage. I thought their coverage in the second half was really good. How many yards did the Bucs have in the second half? Did you figure that out yet?
No.
What's wrong with you? Well, they had about the same in each half. I thought defensively, I just thought they were very, very disciplined, very physical, and I thought they tackled well, they covered well. I'd still like to see more pressure from the edge guys. They have 6 sacks this year, and 4.5 of them are from the interior. Marlon Tuipulotu got in the sack
Marlon
column.
T on the board.
Yeah, that was a nice play he made. There's really not a lot to criticize defensively. I mean, they held them to under 200 yards, I believe, 174. They outgained them by almost 300 yards. And look, they could have scored. They had a drive to the 13 where they went out on downs. They had a drive to the 14 where they turned it over, or got a field goal. Then they had drives to the 22 and 23, I think, that they didn't get touchdowns. So, and then at the end of the game, if you want to count that, they got down to the 12 and didn't score. But that's kind of a cheap way to do the stat. because they weren't trying to score, but they had a lot of opportunity. They could have scored 40 if they just had a little better red zone play.
Injuries.
We did, can we talk about DeAndre a little bit? Oh, I don't think we talked about him enough.
DeAndre Swift?
Yeah, I know we're talking defense. I just want to say one thing about DeAndre Swift.
Okay.
Is that bad? Am I going off the script?
Yeah, but go ahead.
I love his vision, and I know there's plays where, he's got 8 yards before he gets hit, but I just love how he sees the field and how physical he is. He's better than I thought. That's all.
That's what we came back for.
That's what we came back for.
He's pretty good, that DeAndre Swift. First Eagles player to have 130 plus rushing in back-to-back games since,
I believe, Shady
in 14.
But the first player with 300 rushing yards in a 2-game span since
Bryce Brown.
You guessed, because I wouldn't ask if it was Shady.
Yeah. And Bryce Brown is always in those stats.
And I really like the way they mixed Gainwell in, and at the end,
he was running to. At the end of the game, you might as well get the Gainwell snaps, because you got to save Swift a little bit.
Exactly. He had 28 carries last week, and they're running the ball just about every play. And look, Gainwell's running into a loaded box, and his stats aren't going to look pretty, but they trust him. He doesn't fumble, and I was totally fine with the way he handled it.
I would have honestly, I wanted to see if they got Rashad Penny some late in the game. They didn't.
He never got on the field. He was a did not play coach's decision.
Yeah, I mean, in a game like that where you're up 2 scores and you're trying to run out the clock, I thought, well, maybe they're really just saving this dude for the playoffs.
Yeah, it's
or maybe he doesn't have it left anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but he's well rested. He hasn't played much football.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be inactive pretty soon, you would imagine, when Boston Scott comes back.
It would look that way, yeah.
Why not get him some carries in this game?
Yeah, true.
I don't know. That's like a real little quibble there.
Yeah, terrible coaching. They don't know what they're doing. Fire everybody.
Injuries real quick. I just want to go through them. Landon Dixon, knee contusion. He was walking around the locker room. I think he probably would have gone back in. This is me guessing here a little bit, but they were up big. Sua looked fine. I don't think there was much of a rush to get him back in there.
Did he have a seashell?
I don't get it.
Did Sua have a seashell? That's an inside joke from our conversation yesterday. Never mind.
Oh, I forgot about that. I always love when you tell inside jokes on a podcast to other people.
I was just trying to lighten up the mood a little. You're so serious.
I'm going through injuries.
All right.
I'm trying to think about it.
Injuries.
Justin Evans and Sidney Brown left early. Justin Evans was a neck. He got ruled out. I watched him come back on the sideline. He was you could see he's kind of like stretching his neck, trying to get it, and he never felt good enough to go back in, I guess. Sidney Brown was on the sideline. He never left.
What did they call it?
A thigh. So maybe a thigh bruise. He didn't come back in. I saw him in the locker room. I didn't speak with him, but he was speaking with reporters. So you never really know. But I don't think it looks like nothing major here.
That's good. I'm looking forward to seeing more Sidney.
I am too, and I think it worked well enough that they'll use that situationally.
I would think so.
Yeah. Special teams.
Yeah.
That Britton Covey sure does stink, doesn't he?
And I've said this for 2 years now. I don't get why Eagles fans don't like him, or not everybody, but I mean, this guy last year from week 5 on, he had the 6th highest punt return average in the league, and he's just elusive and slippery and quick. He's not a burner, but he's quick. I think he cuts. He makes cuts very quickly, changes direction really decisively. He's seeing the holes better. That 52-yarder was the longest punt return by an Eagle since Jalen Reagor.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Longest by an undrafted Eagle since Damaris Johnson.
Damaris Johnson, wow. He carved out a nice little career for himself.
He was an idiot who's looking up these punt return stats. But here's one that I love. Britton Covey now has the 4th highest punt return average in Eagles history, behind Brian Westbrook, Darren Sproles, and Brian Mitchell. That's a
not bad company there.
Yeah, he's good at it, and people are going to have to accept that.
Yeah, I mean,
not
look,
going anywhere.
It was bad when he muffed the one early.
Yeah.
Not in this game, but what was that? The Patriots game?
Yep.
Yeah, muff that one. Can't happen. But, overall, he's been pretty good. Jake Elliott.
And he had another good one. He had like a 16 after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looks the part. Jake Elliott, automatic. No problems with the new holder.
Yeah.
Graded man. Man had one punt. It wasn't great. It was 38 yards. It was inside the 20. I think it got to like the 15-ish. It wasn't a great punt.
No, it wasn't a great punt. You'd like to see him get a few more chances, but you'd also like to see the offense.
No, you don't. You don't. You'd rather him not punt.
It kind of goes into your complaint about inside the 20s. I mean, why should a punt that ends up at the 1 count the same as one that ends up at the 19? Mm-hmm. And I'm getting hot about that.
I appreciate that.
I am not happy about it.
Did I tell you about my I heard about a possible rule change, and I forget where I heard it from, so I can't even give them credit. But I've been bringing it up to players in the locker room. I'm starting to get a groundswell for it. Since the kickoff is basically a non-existent play anymore, what if the field goal kicker can put it through the uprights instead of the touchback going to the 25, it goes to like the 20 or the 15?
Yeah, I like that.
You like that? Bring Cubby's on board. I got him on my side.
I'm sure Jake Elliott would be on board.
Yeah, I saw Jake, and he was leaving the locker room on Saturday, so I didn't get to talk to him about it. But I'll get to Jake on that.
I'm surprised you didn't chase him out down the hallway.
I thought about it.
You get going on your special teams rule changes. You get pretty avid.
Devin Allen.
Yeah.
Devin Allen was active for his first NFL game. Didn't go great, but it was still good to see him out there. He had one return and didn't get back to the touchback. And then he was out there as a gunner on the punt and ended up on the ground. But interested to see if they elevate him again.
Yeah, and Covey also, I should mention, since we're talking special teams, had that 30-yard return on the free kick after the safety. He looked good on that one too. So, yeah. And there were really no special teams breakdowns for a change, so that was good to see.
Yeah, I thought it was just a really clean game on special teams.
Yeah.
What did you think make of the coaching overall? I thought it was a well-coached game. I thought early offensively there were some weird stuff, but they figured it out. They got it going. Defensively, I liked what I saw. And special teams was good. Give Michael Clay some credit.
Yeah, coaching staff gets an A from me, and I'm sure I'll see your coaching grades in the middle of the night at some point when you slack them to me. But when you outgain a team 474 to 175 or whatever it was, 472 to 174, yeah, you're pretty happy with every facet of the coaching.
Yeah. Anyone else we didn't talk about that we need to talk about?
Did we talk about A.J. Brown very much?
No, not really. He's pretty good.
He's pretty good. And I think, we're like, so, I mean, he's only been here a year and a few games, but it's like he does this so routinely. Like, there was a long period of time where Eagles didn't have anybody who would catch 9 passes for 131 yards. They didn't have a 100-yard receiver. I have to look it up for like 8 years. I mean, it's like,
and this is his 4th highest total. It's not even like his best game as an Eagle.
Yeah,
I mean, as an Eagle, this is his 4th highest total.
Okay, yeah. He stretches the field. I mean, he had a 14.6 average without a big, without like a 50-yarder, which is hard to do. His long game was 28. Jalen, there's times where Jalen's just going pitch and catch with him, and he's tough too, man. There was a couple plays where he was just getting clobbered by like 3 guys, and he's
tough to bring down.
He is. He's a beast.
6 of his 20 games have gone. 6 of his 20 regular season games with the Eagles have gone over 100.
Okay. I'm surprised it's not higher. I'm surprised it's not 20. Well, we know. And, look, he still hasn't scored this year. I don't think he has a touchdown, but I think he needed a game like this. And I'm fine with Devontae having the big game one week and AJ having the big game another week. I want to see, a few other guys get involved in that.
Well, you had OZ have some big catches.
OZ had a big game.
Dallas got the ball. They weren't like huge plays, but he got the ball quite a bit.
5 for 41 that's like a breakthrough game for him. I mean, he doubled his season total in yards. But yeah, he had a couple first downs, couple double-digit catches. He was involved, and really, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah. Are we good here?
I think so.
We got through the
short week.
Yeah.
Short week. And, I think Washington is they're 2-1, but I think it's a game that the Eagles could win convincingly. Yeah. Any early thoughts on Washington?
I want to watch their game from this weekend. I did not watch it. I heard it was not good for them.
Sam Howell has never seen pressure like he's going to see on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. That's a good defense, though, at least
good
on
defense.
paper.
They get after the quarterback. Things aren't going to come easily in the passing game again, but I think they can – look, they were swarming defensively today. This defense performance today was so good. It reminded me like of a John Gannon defense. Well, we were number 2 defense in the league last year.
Okay.
No, it was impressive stuff all around, front to back, and yeah. So, look, hot day, and they rotated guys, which is good. Come back, and I'm sure they're getting everyone hydrated on the plane because you get more dehydrated on a plane than you do at low altitude. So make sure you drink a lot of water tomorrow morning.
I have my flight. I had my flight got changed. I was supposed to have a layover in Miami and then fly to Philly, but my first flight got pushed back, so the layover no longer works. So I had to change airlines. Now I'm flying. I have a layover in Newark. I didn't even know there were flights from Newark to Philly. The plane might not leave the ground. I might just drive down 95.
Drive down the turnpike?
Yeah, or turnpike.
Well, 95 is the turnpike now that they changed it and screwed up the whole highway system in New Jersey.
Sure. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I flew from Oakland to San Francisco once.
It's just right over?
Yeah, because we couldn't land in San Francisco. We were on our final, and it was hailing and like all kinds of wind and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we were actually going past that Marriott in Burlingame, which is right before the airport. So we were probably at like 500 feet altitude, and we went back up, and the pilot's like, well, we can't really land in this, so we're going to take you over to Oakland. And they were like, if you have anybody meeting you, have them drive to Oakland. So we land in Oakland where the weather's fine because it's not right on the water. And so we're sitting on the ground for like an hour, and the guy says, well, we don't have a gate. So if you had anyone coming here to pick you up, have them go back to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And then when the weather cleared, we took off from Oakland and flew like 6 minutes to SFO.
I've had a weird weekend of travel. My bag didn't make it on my flight.
Where was your bag?
So this is actually amazing. It was not the first part's not amazing. That my bag did not make it to Tampa. I get an alert that says your bag's not on this flight with you. It's on the next flight. Okay, don't know why that happened, but they were like, you can either wait for it, which would be like 3 or 4 hours, or we can deliver it to your hotel.
Yeah, like that's going to happen.
That's what I was thinking. But I said, okay, I didn't want to waste my day just sitting in the airport. So I said, okay, sure. I went to Walmart and bought the cheapest pair of like basketball shorts I could find because I'm not a shorts on a plane guy. And then I went out, spent my day, and I called the hotel a few times. No, we don't have it yet. We don't have it. All right. I show up to the hotel. There's my bag at the desk. I couldn't believe it.
That's inspiring. It's good stuff.
And then the airline's on my bleep list again because
I have a question for you. How long is your layover in Newark?
Like an hour. Yeah, I thought about this.
Jump on Amtrak.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I have to get to the airport in Philly because my car's there.
I'll drive you from 30th Street Station to the airport.
I'll look into it.
What have I just done? No, what time do you get in?
Like noon? No, don't do that. I'll take the flight.
No, I will. If you want, I'll do that.
Oh, I appreciate it. You're saying that on air. I feel like when we get off air, you're like, no, I'm not doing that.
No, I'm serious. But you never know with Amtrak. I mean, they might get stuck for 3 hours in like Elizabeth.
Yeah, I'll take my chances on the flight as long as it's on time. But I appreciate it. Sure. We should mention the NFC East lost this week.
Yeah.
Every other team lost, including the Cowboys to the Fighting Jonathan Gannons, and Washington lost. The Giants lost. The Eagles are atop the division now.
One of only 3 teams undefeated after week 3, which seems like a low number. And I'll tell you what, I give Nick, we don't talk about it. We haven't mentioned Nick Sirianni, but I give him credit for having this team ready and prepared coming off what was such a disappointing end of last season. And just like every coach is going to say, we got to, forget last year and move on. But it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. And to start off 3-0 after losing a Super Bowl speaks a lot about him and the staff and the character of the team.
I agree. All right, let's start to wrap this one up a little bit. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, do us a favor. Please rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click the like button and subscribe there as well. That's it. This also, by the way, guys, counts as your Tuesday pod because we're recording it. It's Tuesday.
We started on Monday.
We don't have enough to talk about for another pod. So we'll be back with you on Thursday. Apologies if you're really hoping for another one. You'll get one. You'll just have to wait a couple of days for it.
Or just watch this one again.
Yeah, just watch this. Yeah, why not? All right. For Rube, I'm Dave. This has been Eagle Eye presented by Nissan. We will talk to you soon.